It's hard for creatives to monetize their art. Business people are evil. Let's look at this problem scientifically. If the deal sounds too good to be true, a massive headache. But wait, I sense a skeptic in the room, and here's what happens next.
Some say being talented and being an artist is a blessing, and others say it's a curse. One thing seems to be certain is that most artists go through life broke. So let's try and make sense of it all. Let's roll.
So what is art, really? In my opinion, art is the way we explain the meaning of life. We give events and everything that is impacting us a meaning through music, through video, through photos, and this is how others may experience our culture as well. And because our art is our own explanation of everything that is happening around us, actual process of creating art is highly rewarding, but it can also be very risky because we don't know if our art will resonate with thousands or millions of people around the world, whether they will see events the same way we do and find a meaningful connection in our interpretation. And this is why I believe it's hard for creatives to monetize their art, because even if that work resonated with their friends or family, then they have to worry about marketing and sales and customer support, causing them to have a massive headache. And since artists don't usually have any money to begin with, they go and they seek out angel investors or venture capitalists to invest in their project. And here is what happens next. They sit at a bargaining table and they literally have no leverage. When presented with, well, do you want any funds to fully realize your project or not? Artist has an option to basically say yes or no, and everything else is leveraged by that investor, who at the end will get the lion's share of the profits. So is it? Should creatives go through life being broke, or is there actually a way to monetize their talents and skills? Well, let's look at this problem scientifically. I believe that every artist is a leader, if not in the sense of leading other people, then in the sense of being in charge of the work that they create. And if you are an artist, please let me know what you think in the comment section below. In my quest of searching what leadership means for an artist, I came across a book called Ideal Executive by Dr. Ichak Adizes, which changed the way I perceive the relationship between business and art. In his book, Dr. Adizes makes a claim that there is no such person as an ideal executive, because ideal executive actually consists of 4 different management styles, and to be ideal you have to execute all 4 styles with excellence, which is impossible. And these 4 management styles are as follows: entrepreneur, producer, administrator, and integrator. But wait, I sense a skeptic in the room. You may be there wondering, what does a book on corporate management have to do with artists not being able to make a living for themselves? Well, stay with me till the end and I will show you how this theory not only helps artists but also applicable to families and may even save a marriage. The core idea here is that for any organizational unit, being a small video production company or a family, in order to live and scale and not die, it needs to have all 4 letters: EPAI. Now let's take a look at characteristics of each management style, its pros and cons, and then bring everything home. Entrepreneurs are innovative and creative, and they're willing to take a risk when they see an opportunity for growth or innovation. Unfortunately, they may lack focus and follow through, sometimes being overly optimistic, missing out on details, and underestimating the scope of work. Producers are focused on getting things done efficiently. They're great at day-to-day operations and their main focus is to get the job done, being it a photograph, a painting, or a short film. And most artists fall into this category because their main focus is on creating great art. But producers may lack strategic vision, which means that they prioritize short-term gains over long-term sustainability, and they're also very resistant to change. If you're getting value out of this video, please subscribe for more videos about the business of filmmaking. Administrator, also known as a bureaucrat, is detail-oriented, is great at implementing systems, and makes sure everything starts and finishes on time. But administrators oftentimes resist innovation because they just don't want to get out of their comfort zone. They may also lack creativity, so it's kind of hard to imagine an artist being an administrator or a bureaucrat. It's almost impossible. And they're very rigid at following rules, which artists usually try to break. Integrators are great at building relationships and fostering teamwork. When you walk in a new workplace, they know everything about everyone. When you ask them Who is this? Oh, this is so-and-so and they have house and 5 kids. Integrators are people person and they usually try to make everyone happy. On the downside, they have difficulty in making tough decisions. And this in a nutshell how any organization functions. An entrepreneur comes up with an idea, producer makes it happen, administrator keeps it all on track, and an integrator makes sure everybody has great time working together. But even if one of these letters is missing, the company becomes dysfunctional. You can also see this model work in the classical family structure. You have husband who is normally an entrepreneur, meaning gets an ideas, and the producer goes out and wins bread, brings the bacon home. And there's wife who is normally an administrator, meaning she takes care of all the bills, and also integrator. She makes sure that everybody in her home is in a great relationship. And she also makes sure to make a lot of family friends. So some families unfortunately may struggle because husband and wife don't cover all 4 letters. For example, the husband may be an entrepreneur and producer, and the wife may be an integrator and entrepreneur. So the letter A is missing. How does the household without a defined administrator looking like? Bills are probably not being paid on time, and the house is probably often messy. So let's bring it all home. Based on what we just discussed, an artist or a creator is normally a P, a producer. But besides being a producer, there's usually a secondary characteristic being involved. Most of the time for a P, a complementary secondary characteristic would be an E, entrepreneur. Hence the name of the channel, filmmaker, entrepreneur. Creatives who possess a P and an E would normally be leaders, they would be in charge of agencies, and they would lead other creatives to work on larger projects. Most of the time, a producer cannot also be an administrator because a producer needs a sort of organized chaos, whereas an administrator does not do chaos. Everything has to be structured and on time. Now, how many artists do you know who show up on time and have everything in order? Let's take a look at an integrator function. Can a P be also an I? I most of the time functions as an observer, whereas P functions as a get-it-done person. And sometimes an artist may be a true producer. I think this is where genius of creativity may live in, where everything an artist does is focused on one thing, to create the best work possible without any additional distractions. And this is why we see so many patrons throughout history who helped artists make a living. Many creatives don't think of building a business around their talent or making profits. They're just interested in becoming the best artist that they can be, maximizing their talent and work output. And this is why many creatives and creative geniuses go through their lives being broke. And sadly, it's not surprising that out of all art school graduates, only 10% become working artists, statistically speaking. But let's look at modern day investors. Most of them are entrepreneurs, which means it's in their DNA to look for lucrative deals and financial gain. So while an artist, a producer works day in and day out trying to create the best work possible or the best product, an entrepreneur goes out and finds the best deal, signs the top contract for the maximum gain of profits for their own good. Unfortunately, artists don't read fine print much, so when the dust settles, they may get only about 10% of what they should have made with their work. But let's not make a mistake assuming that entrepreneurs or business people are evil. They're not. Actually, it's part of their character. Maximizing profits is what they're wired to do. I mean, you can't blame wolf for wanting to eat a sheep, right? That's how wolf was wired. So this relationship, this partnership is symbiotic. One cannot exist without another, which means that for any crazy or amazing idea that an entrepreneur will have, they would need a producer, somebody who will actually manufacture or create the product. What is to be done and how can an artist break out of this cycle of being broke? Based on my experience, keep your talents close, but keep your ineptitudes even closer. And most importantly, learn to trust your gut. If the deal sounds too good to be true, then maybe it is too good to be true. As a creator, embrace the fact that you probably cannot do everything on your own. Sales, marketing, customer support, but make sure to choose your partners wisely. And in the next video, I will share 10 mistakes you should avoid while building your videography business.